Hi there, my name is Marc Brunet with CubeBrush, and I'm really excited today because I get to do a full review of the new Wacom Cintiq Pro 16 inches. So this is one of the two new Wacom Cintiqs that have been released recently. The other one is a 13-inch version, and there will be bigger sizes also coming out in the coming months, basically replacing the entire current lineup of Cintiq. So this one is kind of like a new size. There's never been a size like this. So the 13-inch version is obviously replacing the 13 HD version, and then there will be bigger sizes to replace other ones, such as this one back here, which is the 27 QHD. So this has been my daily, my daily tablet for the past couple of years. I love it. It's been awesome, and I can't wait to see how the new generation performs. So let's check it out in this complete review. First of all, though, let's open the box and check out what's inside. Alright, let's check out what's under here. So here we have the mini display port. So that's only needed if you have to use the Wacom link. Same thing with this cable here, which is the USB cable. And then we have the USB-C cable, which is the only one that you would need to use if you have a USB-C compatible system. This is the power block with USB-C connector on the other end. This is a little clip to hold your pen that you just snap on top of the Cintiq right here. Here we have the actual Wacom link with USB-C connector here, USB-C port, and on the other side USB and mini display port. Here is the new Wacom stand. So all the Chinese knockoffs have been kind of copying Wacom for a couple years now, so they decided to go with a new look, which actually looks pretty nice. And here's just the little rings to customize your Pro Pen 2. Alright, so now that I have it all set up, there you go. You can see the comparison between the new Wacom Cintiq Pro and the big mama 24 QHD back there. So it's actually a really good size. So the 13-inch version I've always been a little bit too small for me to work on. This one is a really nice size, especially if you're going to be on the go and using that with your laptop. A couple notes about my setup here, because it didn't work out of the box, so I had to do some tricks here and there to make it work. So probably important that I mention those. So what I wanted to do initially is to use
the Cintiq with my new laptop, which is a Dell XPS 15, and it has Thunderbolt 3 ports, which would have worked great if only that was also what Wacom was using. But they are using a USB-C technology instead, which did not work. So I wasn't able to connect the two.
So instead, I decided to go and plug it directly into my workstation. But
that meant that I would have to use the Wacom link right here, which is unfortunate because it's supposed to only support half the resolution. So you're not supposed to be able to get 4K with this. But so yeah, I was a little bit bummed. So anyways, I decided to try it and plug it into my workstation. The only problem was that I didn't have a mini display port on my video card on my workstation, so I had to get a cable for that. So a cable that I got is a mini display port to display port, and I was able to connect it with the Wacom link. And yeah, as we can see here, we're getting QHD resolution, which sucks. But now something very strange is about to happen. So what I did, just wanted to make sure that indeed I'm getting QHD in here, and with the cable connected, turn it off, power back on, and for some mysterious reason, I'm getting 4K now. So this one I just can't explain. It's not supposed to be able to do this, and I just wanted to make sure that in my Windows settings I'm actually getting 4K, which I am. So yeah, there you go. That's a strange one. But there is one thing that you need to know.
This one, the top one on the left side, is you have to use this one if you're using 4K. So any other ports is going to give you instead half of that. It's going to give you QHD resolution. So that's something to consider. If you're not getting the 4K, it's probably because you're not plugged into the right port right there. Yeah, that works great. I don't care that there's an extra cable because it's plugged into my workstation, so I'm not going to be moving around with this. But just something that you need to know. If you're going with a more portable kind of setup for your work,
just make sure that your system supports USB-C if you want to avoid using the Wacom link and the extra cables that have to come with it.
Now that everything is set up, now that everything is working, let's take a look at the different options that we have on here. So as I said, there's one port on the side here and an SD card slot, and then two more on the side here, and a hole there that I'm guessing is for headphones. Haven't tested it yet. I don't know why you would use your headphones on this, but anyways, yeah, and then that's pretty much it. And then you have the power button on top here on the side instead of right in the middle, like with the old Wacom Cintiq. So as far as the buttons here, so there's two more. As you can see here, there's 3 on this one, there's 5 on this one. The first one turns this display into a tablet. So it turns off the display and then you can just use it as a regular tablet. Don't know why you would do that, but it's there. Here, the little wrench there brings up this Wacom desktop center. And then you have the keyboard. So it brings up the keyboard. I have it disabled on my machine, but you would bring up the keyboard if you had it enabled. This brings up the settings, so Wacom display settings right there, and then touch off, touch on. I never use touch, so I always leave it off. But yeah, those are kind of like the options that you have. And then one more thing before we test out the tablet itself is that while we have the nice little stand here for the pen, I prefer to use this for the desk instead of the little attachments clip that you can snap on top here. It just looks a little bit nicer. And one thing that's interesting too, so this is the new grip pen too, and it works with this. Obviously doesn't work with the old one, so you'll get a message like this saying that it doesn't work. But the older pen, that works with both. So there you go. So you can draw here and then you can move on here and then keep drawing. So pretty interesting, I think, that the old one is actually compatible with both. And
on the back here we have what looks like 2 fans to keep the display cool. They do make a little bit of noise, but it's very, very subtle.
That would be it. So now let's actually test this thing out and see how it performs.
All right, so the first thing I wanted to test here is the insane amount of pressure levels that we now have with the new pen. So it used to be 2048 pressure levels, and now we have an insane 8192 for both the pen tip and the eraser. There's also a little bit of a higher tilt range. It used to be 40 degrees, now it's 64. But yeah, so I thought it was going to be kind of like a gimmick, this whole thing, but you see the like really thin line that I'm able to get with this pen. There's no way I'm getting this with the regular pen. So there is a difference. So it is subtle, you know, and you have to need this, but yeah, there is a difference, and I'm actually pretty in love with this new pen. One other thing is, you know, there's always a problem. Some people have always this kind of problem where if you're trying to do a straight line, kind of slowly, it gets a little bit jiggly, so it's not like completely straight line. You probably saw that problem here just a little bit. It's very subtle, but it does exist if you go slow and you try to do a straight line, so it jiggles just a little bit. I know that this is the kind of stuff that can be improved with just drivers, so they'll probably get to fix that. I know they've fixed this in a major way already, so it used to be much worse. Now it's actually pretty good, so it doesn't bother me at all. Another thing with the really thin glass that they introduced here, as you can see, the LCD display is kind of getting pushed on, and you're getting this, you know, those shadows around the pen nibs. But they say there's no parallax effects, so you can see here there's clearly some, right? But in terms of how much, it's about half. The glass surface is about half the thickness of the Cintiq 27 QHD. So it is noticeable. It really feels like you're almost drawing on the screen, which is really nice. It's something that I didn't really think would make that much of a difference, since I'm pretty much used to the other one, you know, the thicker glass surface, but it really does feel like you're much closer to your art. I don't know, it's a weird feeling. I've been surprisingly impressed with the changes that they made. It actually makes a pretty big difference, and it makes drawing a lot more enjoyable, which I didn't think could be improved that much. So I was a little bit skeptical there. Yeah, so now let's check it out in a real world situation. So doing an actual piece of work. So as far as the colors go, they're very similar to the Cintiq. So the 27 QHD version. So it still has the best color gamut. So it has 97% of the Adobe RGB. This one here is 94%. So it's still very good. The colors look beautiful. And it's especially amazing that you can't see any pixels whatsoever because of the resolution. So yeah, and it doesn't seem like there's any lag either. So I was working on a really big file here, especially. So to test the 4K and in all its glory. And yeah, there's no lag whatsoever, at least not more than what I had before. And now as far as the rest, like brightness of the screen, it's very similar to the 27 QHD. So the brightness is a little bit lower. The contrast ratio is a little bit higher, not by much. The response rate is double what it is on this 27 QHD. So, I mean, if you're going to game on that, if you're going to play video games on that, it's a bad idea. But then again, that's probably not why you're getting this. So another thing that I want to mention is that I didn't do any color calibration whatsoever on this. It came out of the box looking very good, so I didn't have to touch it. Just like the 27 QHD also is on factory settings. And but yeah, now the more important question being, should you get this and is it worth it? So it is definitely a luxury item, right? So it comes at a pretty hefty price tag. It is $1,500 here in the United States, and it's a little bit more elsewhere. And it really depends of how you use it and how often you use it. So if you're a professional and you don't have a Cintiq yet, so if you have a bigger Cintiq, I would say, stick to that. I don't think you would find it worth it to go from a 27 QHD to this, for example, or if you were going for a 22 HD to this. I don't think it'd be worth it. You'll get the higher resolution, but you lose kind of like the surface area. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't recommend it. This is definitely more for people that have either like a crappier Cintiq, so like a 13 HD, something like that, and you want to level up, but you don't want to, dish out like 2,500 for the bigger Cintiqs. So that would definitely be kind of like the next logical step. This is the first Cintiq that has 4K. It is a really beautiful device, and it would be a major jump going from like a 13 HD to this. And it, obviously for people that have regular tablets, if you're thinking of going for Cintiq instead of the 13-inch version, I would definitely go with this one. It's a little bit more expensive, granted, but it is a much better device just because of the crazy resolution, if your system can support it, and the added kind of like size that you get to work with. It's just a really nice size, and it's small enough that you can travel with it. It's just a really great machine. So if you're thinking of upgrading, I would definitely think about this. It's much better than all the Chinese versions and Chinese knockoffs. Those are crap compared to this. I mean, it sucks that there's not more competition, but there really isn't, right? So it's if you're serious about your art, if you're serious about the quality that you want, this is really it. There's nothing that comes even close.
All right, so there you go. This has been a much better than expected kind of surprise. I was thinking that there was going to be some sort of upgrade, and then 4K would kind of be all. I really dig the added pressure level. You actually can notice it if you're doing a lot of very like meticulous work. So really enjoying that part. Of course, the 4K display is gorgeous. The image on this has never been, you can't see any pixels, so it's awesome when you draw. It feels more natural, but also kind of like not the biggest, but one of the biggest upgrades that I've noticed that I really enjoy is how smooth the surface is now. So it's always been really great. That's what Wacom has been known for. It's not just plain glass. There's always kind of like a nice anti-glare coating on top of their, I don't know if it's a coating or if it's part of the glass, but their glass surface has always been anti-glare and a really nice paper feel. But this is even better. I don't know what they changed, but it's smooth as butter. I don't know, it feels so great to draw on this. There's no resistance, but there kind of is, and you still kind of hear like this of the pen. I don't know, really awesome tablet. But if you do decide to get something like this, make sure that it works with your system. So that's something that's very important. Make sure that you can also get the full 4K resolution if you do decide to get this, because you're paying for 4K, so make sure that your computer supports it. All right, so that's it. So thanks a lot for watching this review. If you did enjoy it, make sure that you give it a big thumbs up and that you share with your friends that might be interested in learning more about this and how it performs. And yeah, I really do hope that it was helpful. Again, thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you guys next time.